Hello and welcome to the penultimate episode of this year's brilliantly British Sandwich-a-thon. This is going to be the 7th episode now. It's been emotional, but it's been amazing. You now know how to make 6 different sandwiches deliciously. But finally today, I've got something extra special for you. Something that might just be the poshest sandwich around. Behold, the shooter's sandwich. This is an Edwardian sandwich that hunters used to pack conveniently in some parchment paper and have whilst they were out and about on the hunt. And I'm going to pair this with some Worcestershire sauce flavoured crisps. So sit back, relax and enjoy this episode. So to celebrate British Sandwich Week on this occasion, we are of course going to be making a nice shooter sandwich. I'm so excited, and the ingredients in front of me are what you will need to make arguably the poshest sandwich on earth. So let me introduce you to the ingredients. So you will need some Worcestershire sauce, some oil, some port, you will need some vinegar, you will need some mustard or some mustard powder, you will need some bread, some homemade bread, the link of which is up there. You will need some mushrooms, a lot of mushrooms. You will need one of the ugliest vegetables on earth. You will need a horseradish. Then you will need some eggs, some shallots, and please don't scrimp out on the meat here. You need some good quality steak. I've got some aged steak, as you can see here, some salt and some pepper. And because I've got too much time on my hands, you need some homemade crisps. And today we're going to be pairing this shooter sandwich with Worcestershire sauce crisps. You are going to be cooking. It's quite complicated, this dish, I will admit. So definitely make sure you stay hydrated with a nice cup of hot tea. We've removed the bone from our steak now. We're leaving the steak out, of course, to be at room temperature, but we definitely need to season it. So we're just going to cover this with some salt. Okay. And then with the back of a spoon, just press the salt into the surface of the steak. Make sure this is seasoned on all sides. Okay, and that's our steaks seasoned. Okay, steak is resting. We now need to chop up our shallots and our mushrooms. The mushrooms and the shallots need to be chopped really, really finely. It's quite therapeutic. That's one way of saying things take a long time. But I assure you, doing it by hand is definitely worth it. Shallots and mushrooms are chopped. Now we're going to make some mayonnaise. First we'll go in our eggs, oil, some pepper and some salt, some Worcestershire sauce, some mustard powder. You want to submerge your hand blender to the very bottom. As you can see, it's starting to form. And then you want to slowly move up and down. And that's it. Nice and simple. Mayonnaise done. We're going to put this into the fridge and allow this to cool and thicken slightly. We're going to start to cook our mushrooms and our shallots in a very hot pan. Drizzle some oil here, and then in goes our mushrooms. Now this looks like a lot, but mushrooms will lose a lot of moisture. Keep this on a very, very high heat. In goes our shallots. I can tell you here, the smell is amazing. We want to extract all of that moisture, dry that moisture up, and develop some nice caramelization. Our mushrooms now are nice and dry with the shallots. Now is the perfect time to add in our port. Stir this in and take in all of those lovely aromas. Now we're going to reduce this down again and get rid of all of the moisture. I've sliced this steak in half, and now what I'm going to do is just with a mallet flatten it out and reduce its thickness ever so slightly. To make our Tewkesbury sauce, because that is the sauce that goes in and around this sandwich, you're going to need some fiery horseradish. We're not going to use all of it because it will just blow our heads off. I'm going to grate it to release all of that wonderful fieriness that we love and appreciate in the UK. I can already smell how fiery this is. Now we're going to grate this on a fine grater. Okay, that's not working out so well. So what we're going to do is hand chop it. I almost feel like it's the angry cousin of a parsnip. You can call this the chopping sweats. It's going everywhere. Whew. I am somewhat exhausted from chopping this up. Now, what we're going to do now is put this into a bowl, then add our mayonnaise, add our mustard powder to it, and our Tewkesbury sauce is done. It should be a little bit runny. This will make it very easy to spread. This is now going to go into the fridge, and then we're going to attend to all of the other components of this sandwich. Our mushrooms and shallots have absorbed all of that port, and a lot of the liquid in the pan has reduced, which is exactly what we want. This is now ready. So into this bowl, it all goes. This is now going to be put to one side, and now we're going to attend to our steaks. We have a smoking hot pan here prepared, and now what we're going to do is very quickly flash fry our steaks. Amazing. We've got some nice caramelization going on here. That is exactly what we want. And as I said before, we don't want to fry these steaks too long because we want these steaks to still be juicy and tender. Okay, our steaks are done. The fat that's generated in the pan now, we're just going to pour it out very quickly, like so. Then very slowly deglaze our pan with some of the pork. So all of the fond that developed on the pan now, we're going to pick all of that flavour up. We're pretty much cleaning the pan, but in an amazing way. The best way, should I say. Okay. You see this? This we now pour into our mushrooms. Guys, we have arrived at the point where we are now going to construct our sandwich. So the kitchen smells of beef, and now I'm going to slice off the upper part of this loaf of bread. I actually want to carve out the inside of this loaf. As the Edwardians who invented this sandwich say, if it's not crust, go it must. This can be used for breadcrumbs. Welcome to Brilliantly British. Now we're going to line the inside of this with our Tewkesbury sauce. The back of a spoon, spread this around. We want this to go everywhere and line all of the insides of this cob. Now on goes our first layer of steak. Honestly, isn't this so ridiculous? Oh my God, this is going to be so good. I can just tell. See how juicy this is? Can't beat that. A layer of deliciousness. I'm sorry, these posh people knew exactly what they were doing. Like, honestly. Okay, you want to make sure that this is really filled well. Now, on goes our lid, and you wouldn't even know what's inside. I can tell you, this has put on a considerable amount of weight. Now we're going to package our shooter's sandwich, get it ready. So first things first, over the top like this. Sandwich has been fully packaged. It's nice and secure. The juices won't spill out and flow everywhere. Now, this isn't actually ready yet. What you need to do to perfect a shooter's sandwich is compress it. I'd recommend overnight. And so find anything that is heavy and just stack those things on top of this to properly form and compress all of those layers inside the sandwich. To accompany our crisps and to make them truly Worcestershire sauce crisps, we need a Worcestershire sauce. So to the other half of the sauce that we made earlier, I'm just going to add some more Worcestershire sauce to it to really bring out the flavour of this famous accompaniment. And you know what? That's it. This has been sitting on the side, compressing and getting better in flavour. Now's the time to unwrap this. Okay, it's been a long time coming. This week has been very busy, and now it concludes with the slicing of the shooter's sandwich. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. And you know, been so juicy, the bread has actually been partially soaked through, which is actually a good sign. It's a good sign. It means you've got yourself a good sandwich here. It's not going to be dry, you're not going to be running around looking for a drink. It's beefy. You've got the strong flavours of the mustard and the horseradish coming through. You've got the port with the shallots and the mushrooms. And the steak is so tender. Oh, this is delicious. Really, this is so delicious, so complex. And yet, this can all be packaged and put into your bag for a trip or an expensive walk. This is amazing. The crisps. Our Worcestershire sauce here. Everything here works, period. If the opportunity arrives, please make this sandwich with these crisps, with these sauce. You will not be disappointed. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Hopefully now you know how to make one of the, if not the best sandwich. Thank you as well for going through all the episodes that have been released this week to celebrate British Sandwich Week here on the Brilliantly British channel. If you liked this episode, click the like button, subscribe to this channel, tell everyone you know about Brilliantly British food, the Brilliantly British food that's been shown on this channel especially, and I will see you next time.